Midnight on Earth podcast with your host, Jake Weaver. Engineered by Cedric Swan. Hey everybody, we're back with another episode of Midnight on Earth. I'm your host, Jake Weaver, and we're here to bring you more knowledge, more light, and more love. We have an amazing guest today, Elena Danaan, and she's going to tell us all about different alien races that are out there in the universe, helping us, some not helping us, and some in between. There's so much going on out there in the universe. It's teeming with life. Elena's incredible new book is called A Gift from the Stars, Extraterrestrial Contacts and Guide of Alien Races. And we're going to talk about that. But first, I need you to do something for me. Follow me on Instagram at midnight_on_earth. That is the address. If you follow us there, it connects us. You know when the episodes drop. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you go to get your podcast, click the button that connects us. And of course, the most important thing, please tell a friend. Tell a friend that wants to know about all the alien races that are out there. Tell someone that you know that likes these type of podcasts because you know you want them to find out about this information. midnightonearth.com. All right. So now that we have that out of the way, we're going to talk to Elena Danaan, but first I got to read her bio. So here we go. Elena Danaan, and this is her words now. Born in France, I studied fine arts and archaeology in Paris and spent 20 years of my life as a field archaeologist in Egypt and Karnak temples, Cairo, Denderah, and the Valley of Kings. And in France with Neolithic, Celtic, and Gallo-Roman cultures. With a university degree in Egyptian religion, I also had the privilege to be trained locally in traditional Egyptian magic. Magic has always been a part of my life. From a young age, I was aware of my vocation and discovered early that I could heal and foretell. During my 20s, I traveled frequently to Brittany to spend time with local druids. The true nature of my path was revealed to me in the heart of Bloodline. I really wanted to pronounce this correctly. Can you help me again, Elena?
Bloodline.
Thank you, Elena. And after years of travels around the world as an archaeologist, I moved to Ireland and embraced my true calling. And Elena is a fully certified druid and celebrant from the Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids, an experienced shaman and channeler who helps people to find their own power and reconnect with their spiritual path, guiding them through life and facilitating their self-growth. Elena says, as a starseed, my task is to help others awakening to their true nature and power, as well as to the awareness of their personal mission. Wow. Elena, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Jake. I'm so glad to be here on your show, and it's going to be cool. Thank you.
Yes. You know, another starseed. We've had starseed topics and starseed guests on the show in the past, and here we are again talking about starseeds. It keeps coming up episode after episode, and it's a pretty powerful concept. How did you know that you were a starseed right away? What was the first indicators for you?
When I was a child, I had many indicators, such as I knew I wasn't from here, and it was really a certain feeling, and that my parents were just temporary parents and not my real parents, and that I was very different from other kids because I really felt I wasn't from here. And when I looked at the stars, I felt my home was my real home was somewhere up there. So that were the first indicators. And it was sort of a denial because it's very difficult to accept these things. You need, when you're a child, you are in the process of being inserted in a society, and the last thing you need to believe is that you're not from here. So that was a bit difficult.
Yes, and I guess with your parents too. I mean, they were your human Terran birth parents, but you knew they weren't your true parents.
Yes, that was the feeling. And I really felt not belonging to this planet and to any of these cultures. And all of these cultures, I was finding them very primitive in the way of thinking, in the way, and not putting myself above anyone else. And
sure.
It's just being different and thinking differently. Everybody is equal and nobody is above or below anyone else. It's just a difference of cultures being born in different places, I was thinking differently, and my frame of thinking was often different than other kids and often adults. And I couldn't understand why people were always looking into arguing with each other instead of seeing the bigger picture, the bigger perspective, and seeing a problem like holographically in all the directions and the perspectives simultaneously. And so that was the way I was feeling different. All of these clues all my life, and but especially the way of the idea of the certainty, of belonging to the stars, not this planet. And I really got the confirmation when in 2018, when I did this encounter again with my ET friends and the progressive ones. And they just told me that effectively I wasn't from here, and it was a confirmation. And and all the memories came back at that moment. So it was after a lifetime. Yeah.
But you knew that something was going on. You felt different. You knew that this wasn't necessarily home, but it was hard for you probably at that early of an age to feel like it was an extraterrestrial experience or even an extra dimensional experience. But it was really around age 9 when you first started having problems, I would say, with some of these extraterrestrials. These memories didn't come back, but this did happen to you early at age 9. Can you tell me about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. At the age 9, something bad happened to me. I was abducted by gray aliens, and not the good ones. They wanted to insert me into a hybridization program, and in the process, I was lucky enough to be rescued on that ship. The gray ship was hacked by positive extraterrestrials, Nordic types, and they took me on board their ship. They healed me, they took care of me, and they brought me back home. But then, since that time, I kept contact with them. And that is how I am still in contact with good extraterrestrials to this day, because I kept contact with these beings all my life. I didn't keep the memory of that famous particular night where I was abducted, but all the memories before the abduction and just after, I always had them. Seeing a gray ship hovering above the house, and then the following day waking up in the bed with bellyache, blood all over the place, and markings in my wrists, headaches and everything. So that was the memories I had vivid all my life. But the night of the abduction, it was so traumatic that it had been voluntarily rerouted to a place in my mind where I wouldn't access it unless I would do hypnosis or look for it, which I did 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is all new for you. I keep forgetting that when I read your book, which is so incredible, A Gift from the Stars, and about these alien races, I just thought it was so incredible that it was just recently that you reactivated all these memories and then wrote the book. So you had all these memories, you had all these experiences, but like you said, they were kind of in the back of your mind as half memories, or what would you call them?
Vivid memories, always part of as vivid as any other memories, but just the night of the abduction and rescue by Grace, abduction by Grace and rescue by Nordics, these specific hours in my life had been blanked and hidden from me because it was so traumatic that and extraordinary in the same time that it would have disturbed my whole life. I needed to perform my mission, learn, live what I was supposed to live, and then in the right time, when ready, I could remember then, but not before. So the night of me being taken on board the Gray's ship and until being brought back home by the Nordics, these few hours were the only memories I didn't remember vividly. All the other ones, my Nordic friends taking me many times on board their ship or being into my room. It was part of my normal memories. I remembered that, but didn't tell anyone because, it is only recently that we can speak about that freely without being taken to the mental hospital.
Or at the very least ridiculed really badly because it seems so outside of the normal paradigm.
Yeah.
But that seems to be by design because, in your book, you talk about so many different races and so many different situations where different races have interacted with humans. And yet there are still on this planet billions of people that have no idea that any of this is going on. How are these forces able to manipulate that much energy to keep that many humans subjugated?
And that's the Cabal, the Nebu Greys, with their allies reptilians. It's voluntary for two reasons. Because the extraterrestrials who on the paper own humanity, they don't want humanity to realize that they are owned by extraterrestrials. So that they maintain people into stupid frame of mind by broadcasting stupid TV programs, fake mainstream news, creating divisions and groups and playing everybody to fight each other. It's often racial or religious, they play with that, maintaining humanity in a kind of numbedness of mind. And then the second thing is that the humans who work with them, we call it the Cabal or the Deep State or many names, they're terrified. They committed, they committed the sign with their blood. You can say it's just metaphorical, okay, or maybe sometimes not. They made such a mistake in 1955, signing these agreements with the Nebu Greys, that if the world was to officially, publicly know about this, that would be the end of them. I mean, what a shame to tell publicly, well, we've sold you out, guys, to the gray aliens in 1955. Oops, sorry. No, that's people want disclosure, but that's this disclosure, the real one, never will come for the governments, because the governments are the first involved, 2 feet in the
most guilty, you could say.
I know disclosure comes from whistleblowers, abductees, contactees, 20 and back people who comes from the people. People are the disclosure, So yeah, I don't know. It's went just far from the question. Sorry.
No, it's okay. That's what we do here. But the thing is that, it's just so much energy to keep down. And you're right. The television, the different ways that the outside forces keep humanity in a lower energy density, lower thinking, lower feeling, keeps us from experiencing the information that exists in these higher frequencies. And that's part of their agenda, because they did, like you said, in 1955, they sold us out already. So they're already guilty. So they're probably so scared of being penalized for their actions that they're keeping us enslaved. That's probably a part of it.
Yeah, because if imagine it's like a snowball effect. The government say, "Oh yes, we are working with ETs, and we have ET crafts crashed, and we are just retro-engineering them," and that opens the door to questions. Since when? Why didn't you tell us? With who? Who are these ETs, and why? And if they open the door, they are doomed, because people are going to ask questions, and that's gonna just, so they rather say nothing.
Right.
That's how they do it.
Or hope people become stupid enough to not ask any questions. Right.
Yeah, but that's not happening.
Yeah. Thank God, because we are, well, the human's so beautiful and we have so much potential that it's you can't keep that divine spark suppressed, because it really is divinity. So you're trying to suppress something that's not only made, is everything, but has infinite power. It's just impossible.
And why human species has survived until now, it's mainly because of one of its great superpower, curiosity.
Right.
Curiosity. Yeah.
And of course, our ability to manifest as well. We have this incredible ability to turn nothing into something, which is part of our gifts as humans. But there are emissaries. There are people like you that are here to awaken us, that have come as consciousnesses in these avatar bodies. How many people are like you on this planet doing this type of work?
I do not know. Many.
Hundreds of thousands?
And maybe. I do not know the number. It changes all the time, because some go, some come. It's never a set up number, People discorporate and incorporate. We call it like that, constantly. So there isn't a set number.
Well, I did notice that you said in your book that part of the starseed mission is to help humanity, because this is humanity's last chance to step into the light. What does that mean?
Because we are at that point in our history where either we become a race of slaves and there's no way back, or we wake up and we realize we do not want to do that, and we stand up for our freedom. We are here. We've already started to stand up for our freedom. The dark ones are just fighting their last cards and their last chance with all their heart to try to bite the most people as possible. It's a dying beast, but we've already stepped into shouting for our freedom and our sovereignty, and that's where we're going. And we are helped and supported in this movement, in this evolution. Humanity is realizing slowly that they've been fooled, and even if waking up it's so hard and it hurts, realizing that, but they do it anyway because it's survival instinct. And humanity of Earth is very, very resilient, and we are on a good way, on a good timeline, and it's fine. But that's this moment in time. If we didn't wake up, we would have been enslaved forever by these grays. Because all the all the agendas that are going on at the moment, I don't want to put you in trouble, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. Depopulation. We'll just say depopulation. How about that? yeah. And it's what is very grave is the transhumanism process that's been put into people's body, manipulating them by fear. Fear is their main tool. Fear is consent. Fear is a very good way of making what
whatever you want to do with people. You just scare them and they will do whatever you ask them to do. So yeah, that's part of the agenda of transforming us into Borgs. For those who have seen are used to Star Trek, I always often refer to Star Trek.
Me too.
Star Trek is disclosure. So we are here.
So isn't it inevitable though, like the work that these dark beings and their agents, you could say, are trying to do, isn't it just futile because the divinity of evolution and where we're going is outside of what they can influence?
Yes, absolutely. But for that to be effective, people need to know about it. People need to know how powerful they are, because if we don't know these grace, they do know who we are. We need to wake up to who we really are. And then they are nothing. They are just dust for us. So we just need to wake up to who we truly are. And they dump our brains by bombarding us with mainstream, by rubbish.
Garbage.
So mainstream media and manipulation and lies from the governments, everything. So once we stop listening to that, we just listen to the voice inside, to our own frequency, and we just realize who we are. And once you decide not to give access from the what is broadcasted to you, then you discover who you truly are. That's a whole process, but the main thing is switch off the mainstream and news and distortions and distractions, and just look inside who you are. That first thing.
Yes, and get that intuitive message to develop your true self.
Yeah.
But humanity, we have an incredible destiny. We are moving towards this new Earth. It is, in a way, unstoppable, but you're saying there could be a chance if somehow we stayed in materialism, if we stayed in a lower frequency, that could keep us in this timeline. Is that right?
Yes.
So even though it's, you could say, predestined, there still has to be an action taking place. And the action, the choice is an individual thing. So the action has to happen regardless of if we intuitively know that we're moving to a new Earth. If we don't take the action, then it can't manifest.
Yes. Jake, that is extremely important. It's crucial to really talk about that point, because we always have the choice. Free will is the law of evolution, something that everybody knows. When you reach a certain development of consciousness, all these ET races, they know about it, the good and the bad guys. That's why the bad guys got us, the people of Earth, to sign, to agree to be invaded, because then we couldn't be protected by the good guys. So yes, that's a whole story, but that's basically it. But you have power. You have power to change timelines. You have power to change your life. Predestination is a first draft to where it's going to go. But you can change that. If someone, a psychic, does a prediction to me, says to me, oh, in my vision, I see you. You're going to go to the shop and buy yourself a cake. And that's what I would have done anyway. But then, knowing that, I decide not to do it, and I change the timeline by action. Why? Because I have the knowledge. Suddenly, I got the knowledge, and knowledge is power. And when you have the knowledge, then you can change timelines. So that's why people need to know. And waking up enables us to change timelines. If we decide to stand for ourselves and say that we do not consent to be abused, we change the future.
Isn't that amazing that we have that power?
Predictions, it's how things are going to go, for sure. If you continue to do what you're doing, if you don't change anything, that's going to happen like this. But you can change stuff. You can.
Right. Well, I remember in your book where it was pointed out that the best way to fight this is to step up into higher levels of consciousness.
Yes.
There's so much anger when you expose yourself to these atrocities that are going on in the world that are being committed by this cabal and their agents. It hurts your spirit and it can hurt your heart, especially if you're an energy sensitive person and you're radiating the vibration of love and you're just trying your best to be a loving being. And then, so you're already in this higher frequency and then you get exposed to some of these atrocities. It's very hard because it makes you very angry. But that in itself, while it is a fuel of creativity and action, can also keep you down. So it's kind of not really positive to focus on a lot of that stuff, even though it's hard for people that are spiritual to be exposed to these things that are going on.
Well, I tell you something. Yes, I agree. And I tell you a little something. When I am asked, how do you see the future? I see the future. Well, I've been shown as well the future by my good ET friends. They said the Earth, the good timeline that you've stepped upon, if you still keep on working hard on developing your consciousness and doing what I'm going to tell in a minute, this Earth will be a world united in peace. It will be a federation of different countries, each one keeping their individuality. That's totally different from a New World Order where you have one in power, No, that will be federation with everybody standing its own ground, but federated in peace and no one above each other and all getting on with each other as a peaceful civilization and then moving forward from there. How do we reach that? Because this is the greatest challenge of humanity since humanity was started, getting on with each other. That's the thing. How do you do that? Well, stopping fighting someone else because he thinks differently. He believes different things. It starts by stopping fighting yourself with yourself, because at the moment you heal, everything starts within at an individual level. First, explore who you are. What are your traumas? What are your wounds? What's your problem? Then heal it. Yeah, different methods. Heal your traumas, heal your wounds, and then you will find inner peace. Reconciliate yourself with the different aspects of yourselves, your inner child often, or different you of that different parts of your life. Heal. Once you are in peace with each other, with yourself, you will stop projecting your inner conflict outside in order to treat them. And then you will stop arguing with people. When people will bring you contrast, you will take this contrast as, interesting point of view. Interesting. And not like, you're crazy, you're wrong, I'm right. No, that will be over. Because you will have stopped your inner conflict. So then you start to get on with people. And that when that is done, that's it. The world is in peace. It starts within. Heal yourself. Stop being in conflict with yourself. And that's the only way forward. That's how it should work.
Right. Because then you're not in a place of diminished energy when you're dealing with those contrasts. And you can approach it with a loving perspective because you've raised your vibration and you're just kind of in that love frequency. And I remember in your book, the beings, I guess aliens or extraterrestrials, the aliens, they said in about 100 years, we're looking pretty good. That was really happy. That made me really happy to hear that, because sometimes I wonder if it's going to take 1,000 years in order for the work to be done. But from what you're being told, it's going to happen within 100. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, it is. Yes. When I look at some people, I think, that's going to happen in 1,000 years or never. But, but no, the prediction is, Thoran told me last year, that vision is about 100 years. And when I say that to people start to act like, spoiled child. No, I want it now, And I had to say yes, but wait a minute. It is up to you to make it happen sooner.
Right.
Just stop behaving like a child and just do the work. Do the work. Go within. Become an adult. Heal yourself and behave like an adult human member of the human species, and do it. The evolution doesn't come falls from the sky. You do it. You evolve. You do the work yourself. So it's 100 years average, but you can make it happen sooner
for yourself,
or later if you just stubborn and you just wait. People who say that's something good. Some people say trust the plan. So yes, trust the plan. Not by eating popcorn and doing nothing, but that because nothing will happen. But trust the plan with working yourself as part of the plan. That's it. People who tell you in new age groups or social medias, eat popcorn and just watch. You're going to be saved, or a super cosmic event is going to happen and sort out everything. No, that's manipulation. That's disempowering you.
Right.
So be careful to that.
Yeah, it keeps you from doing anything to move the thing forward yourself. I've noticed that a lot. I felt like when people were saying that, it was like a mantra to trust the plan in the last couple of years. It almost seemed like it was keeping people from actively engaging the problem, if that makes sense.
Totally true. Exactly.
But, there is some sort of plan that we can trust. And if we take the action, we're going to get there. And in that 100 years, we're going to be out there interacting with these other races that are out there.
Yes. Well, we do already, but not
in a general sense.
Just, in a general sense of openly. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I often tell people that, our grandchildren, I'm 42, my grandchildren will have extraterrestrial life as a normal, everyday part of existence. And I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's coming. I know even the actual young children, age 5 to 10, they will have this life. They will live with extraterrestrials.
I know, that's so cool. But, we manifested in the between time, like before all of this came to be. And now we're here in 2021 and things are really starting to blossom. You can see it, especially if you've been following it for a long time. I feel like you've been following it for decades. I know I have. And to watch the development of how humanity's changed spiritually and emotionally and what they're able to engage with, it's pretty profound.
Yes. No, it's fantastic times. And we are privileged to be here. And we the fact to be incarnated here now puts a responsibility on our shoulders. To be,
to do the work, to do the great work.
Yeah.
But we have to evolve because, like you pointed out in your book, there's a section in your book, Terrans in space, and they were a little concerned about how we were getting out there and not being fully developed. And I thought that was so funny because I often tell people that what I described as the aliens, the good aliens, aren't going to let us out until we're evolved past our garbage, our crap, our stuff, because they don't want billboards in space. I often say they don't want billboards in space. So if we can just get to that point where we're not so caught up in materialism is really what it boils down to. We're caught up in materialism. Then we can be out there as emissaries of love and light, sharing the human experience with all the different races that are out there.
Yes, we've been groomed by the grays and the bad ones to be materialistic like this. We've been groomed. That's what they do. They take an innocent species and they groom them to be their minions and their slaves, and that's how we have been groomed. So that's why we are that materialistic. But we are in fact spiritual beings. I mean, you just look at children. When we were at that point as well. Remember, when you were a child, you had no interest for materialism, for racism, for religious conflict. You just were. Every child is born with believing in fairies and stuff and unicorns and the magic of the universe and wanting to play with all the children. We all are born like this, but then comes the preconditioning of the Cabal, and throughout bombardment of social medias, mainstream medias, TV, school, education. I mean, this is just suddenly strangled, and we are made forced into robots. So that's not natural to arrive at this stage of technological development and being that mean and materialistic. That's not the natural process of evolution. On many worlds in this universe, there's the normal trend of evolution of a culture is more or less parallel development of consciousness and technology. That means that when a society reaches a certain level of technology that are able to be an interplanetary and then interstellar culture, their consciousness has evolved at the same time to become reasonable people. And that we're not going to just be Vikings of the galaxy. That's the normal thing. But then when there's an intervention that bribes and crushes the conscious evolution, but boosts the technology, you just form, and like clay, a society that is going to be materialistic, vindicative with technology, and then you can use them. That's where we are. So that's why the good ETs, they push us like mad, like crazy to just open our consciousness and just boost your spiritual evolution right now. That's it.
That's really the where we can go because of where we're at right now. It's just really just go within, personal development, spiritual development, raise your vibration. Yeah. Someone from upstairs, as I say, told me once, I say upstairs, I like it. We cannot liberate a slave who holds on to his chains. Right.
And that made me think, I'm not religious, but there's a guy who said once, help yourself, then the sky will help you. The heavens will help you.
Right.
Remember? So help yourself first, then the heavens will help you. And it's exactly it.
Well, the heavens are helping us with these beings out there. Yes. And you did outline some of these races in your book, because according to the alien race that, hopefully I pronounced this correctly, but the Almanuk, did I say that right?
Yes.
Almanuk. All right. There's 5 universes. They have a saying, 5 universes, 2,500 species, 1 race. But so there's 2,500 species that they talk about, but you outlined 110 in your book, right?
Yes. At the time, the Almanuk came up with this sentence. It was a long time ago. Since then, hundreds of thousands of more civilizations developed and joined the Galactic Federation.
Oh my God.
So that was when that sentence was said. It was at the creation of the Council of Nine. I don't know when, but it was so old. It was already a lot. Yeah.
So really, the amount of advanced species that are at that level now is pretty much like incountable, hundreds of thousands.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Wow. But you identified 110 specifically. Why did you choose those 110? Were those just kind of the main ones that were the most active with humanity?
Yes, I was told about these 110 races because these ones are those who are involved with our situation on Earth. These are all the actors and intervenants of
the players.
Our situation. Players, sorry, yes. Players.
Wow, because I thought it was fascinating because it wasn't just a brief description of these races. It was actually each race's individual history and some of the situations that have arisen in their history.
Yes, I was shown that, all this data, I got it by telepathy. Not, spiritual downloads or channeling. I can do channeling, but I didn't do that for that book because I have a better way of getting information by direct contact. So I was shown pictures of them, either the memory of the person who was from upstairs who was sending me this data. So when we connect by telepathy, I have an implant in my head that helps for that. I can see his thoughts. It can send me his thoughts, visions, memories. So I can see pictures. And so I was drawing this picture. Well, it was lasting like for a minute. And I was just staring at it in my head. Sorry, trying to grab all the details. And then when the communication would be over, I would draw it. And that's what I would do. And then he would tell me by telepathy by voice, all the information about this particular race. So I would write down very quickly with a pen and a paper and then type it. That's how it came.
And it came through, like you said, an implant. And this is an alien implant that was implanted early in your life, if I remember the book correctly. And that was part of that intervention. Was that at your age 9 experience?
Yes, it was. So this implant, it's a very special one because it was recalibrated. This was put first. It was just a simple tracker, a health monitor. Put by the Greys who took me. And when I was rescued, this implant was badly placed. And the place it was in my brain was interesting. So instead of removing it when I was healed on board the Federation ship, they decide to recalibrate it. Not to take it out, but to recalibrate it to their frequencies. Then they would be able to monitor me and to communicate with me at a later stage in my life. So that what happened that I was age 18 when they switched it on. That was quite impressive.
I bet. I mean, that must have been incredible for you at that stage of life because you didn't have the access to your age 9 memories yet, but you had the other memories and you were still a young girl. I mean, 18, you're still a teenager. You're still. Yes,
when you have a radio transmitters being switched on in your head and you hear all the static sounds and you feel it, and then you hear a voice. Oh my God! It's traumatic. It's like, what the hell is happening? And nobody else can hear that. Like you have a speaker in your head. That's shocking. I got used to it, of course.
And you said it was still sore, even to this day.
It's still, yes.
Where is it exactly?
It's I can't tell it.
Okay, that's okay. But I thought it was interesting that you stated in your book that these extraterrestrials, the ones that tried to implant you and then before it was recalibrated, they followed your maternal bloodline. And I wanted you to elaborate more about that. Why is your bloodline so important that they were following you and your grandmother, because your grandmother had abduction experiences that were similar to yours. And she was kind of there comforting you, knowing what was going on, but couldn't really talk about it too much. But why is that bloodline so important? Why are your genetics something to be followed by these races?
So they abduct more or less specific bloodlines for specific programs. They abduct millions of people every year.
Yes.
But there are specific bloodlines that will serve specific hybridization programs with specific, I don't know much about that.
Just like some purpose, some specific purpose.
Yes, so that's what the bad do. But the good guys also, which is not the Federation. So now I'm going to talk about a different type of ETs, a different organization, positive one, which is the Council of Five. You spoke about the Almanuk earlier on. These ETs have created it. It was called the Council of Nine at the start. So these people will take care of peace and balance, but more on a spiritual level. And so the Council of Five is involved on Earth, starseed programs, and they are working on repairing human DNA. So they are going to pick some bloodlines who have a potential regarding to their blood, but also their psychic abilities. And they will work on them generation after generation. They will take them and reactivate the DNA that had been altered long ago for everyone. So they will. That's why my granny was. She was taken by the good and the bad, and I was taken also by the good and the bad. The bad at the age of 9, but the good at the age of a toddler. I had this memory. That's something I haven't spoken about yet here. It's in my book anyway. At the age of a toddler, I was taken by the Council of Five to just be checked and that everything was all right. They check you up. And this being is one of my protectors as well from the Council of Five. He's actually one of the counselors. Sorry, my French.
That's okay.
In the council, yes, is one of the 5 representatives. He's my bloodline. Why is it so important? Many bloodlines are as important because we carry a special blood. This blood carries psychic abilities. I don't know how this is possible. It works with the DNA. I'm from a long line. I'm a mix, a very interesting mix of crossing many bloodlines. My maternal bloodline is from the Baltic Sea. Is a mix of Sami and Norse Scandinavian. But the Sami here is very important. These people were descendant of a very ancient civilization. So the females in this bloodline, of which I borrow the body. It's not me, it's this body. I'm talking, not the real me, the soul. So, and all the females in this bloodline have had great psychic abilities, and they were all shamans. That means able to travel interdimensionally by projecting their consciousness. That's what a shaman does. And I was born with these abilities, and I was trained by my grandmother. And I have also another bloodline, which is a very French, old royal bloodline with special blood as well. So the two are mixed. I have Middle East as well, an interesting bloodline as well. So all of these 3 streams met in me.
That must be it.
It certainly helps.
That must be it. I think that's part of it. It seems like that's because you do have this. You are a druid shaman. Like you did study with these humans, and you are special in that way. So that is the intersect point. Like your starseed life, your druid life. This is the intersect point where why they're attracted to you, why they're interested in you, is because of your shamanic ability and your history. Did your grandmother's grandmother have any stories? Did your grandmother have any stories about her ancestors having these experiences?
No, she didn't tell me because, she was from a time where when you didn't speak about these things. She only started talking about these things when we saw the ship hovering above the house. She was with me, and she told me, it comes from another world, and when it changes color, that means it's going to go, and blah blah blah. She knew everything about it, and then she told me about her experience of being abducted in plain sight, plain day. I mean, daylight, by a ship as well. She described it to me, but she didn't say what was happening on board, and. So I knew, and when I was back from my abduction at the age 9, the following morning, blood all over the place and just miserable. She was crying, and she knew something, and she was sat on a chair in the corner of the kitchen and just weeping, face in her hands.
She was frustrated.
She knew, yeah. She was angry and weeping, and just. She wants to be left on her own, and that shocked me. Why is Granny reacting like that? It was very impressive. She knew.
Yeah, there are others that have similar stories to you where extraterrestrials have abducted family members and implanted things or performed experiments on them through the generations. So you're definitely not the only one, but it definitely seems like a lot of work to suppress all this information. It must take an incredible amount of energy, human energy, yes. Extraterrestrial energy, interdimensional energy to keep us from knowing the truth. Though it does seem like they are leaking things out a little bit. There's been a huge uptick recently in talk of extraterrestrials and disclosure. Do you think that's the real type of disclosure where the Pleiadians are there and all these incredible great races, or is this a manufactured disclosure?
There's a lot of manufactured disclosure to really bury the real disclosure. The real Pleiadian races, they are surely letting the messages out, but this is buried in a real ocean of nonsense that is really manufactured by the deep state to really bury everything, like all the Ashtar cults, everything related to religions, names of spaceships. I mean, oh my God, there's so many using people's religious beliefs to project onto ETs and make up some fake predictions or things, declaration, just to hook people's mind and to seduce them. When you're a believer in certain religion and you're told, ETs have names from this religion and they have a ship named Jerusalem, or this saint person is at the head of the Federation, or Jesus is driving the mothership, or you believe it because you want to believe it.
Sure.
That's all crap.
Because it kind of it doesn't throw away your old life. It somehow integrates some of the old paradigm, right? It integrates.
Yes, and it's putting that's it, and it's that's it, and it's putting people asleep. Just putting a lead on the awakening by doing that. So you need to know that the extraterrestrial beings, they are not from Earth. But you need to remember that, as stupid as it is, they were not born on Earth. They were not raised in the Earth culture. Remember that.
Right.
It's extraterrestrial. So they do not use names and beliefs manufactured on Earth. There is nowhere a ship called Jerusalem. That's a good example. Why would extraterrestrials name one of their they don't give names to their spaceships first? name. Let's not like that. We name a car. It's stupid. I mean, why would they do that? They use name of another culture. You know.
Right.
I mean that's nonsense. People just work your common sense. Go back to the start. They are aliens. They are born like hundreds of light years away from here. They know nothing about our religions. They have another system of beliefs. It's nothing to do. So when people tell you about the Galactic Federation be led by Jesus or another Earth ascended masters or whoever saint, I mean that's manipulation. That's crap. You know, that's BS. Stop that. I mean, wake up. There are aliens.
Right. So there are people out there that will say that they're channeling these situations just like you talk about, where the Federation is led by Jesus on one side and Buddha on the other, and it's this wonderful experience. But those people, are they being deceived by extra dimensional beings that want to control them?
AI, yes, they are deceived. It's either their imagination, but most of the time it's not imagination, it's real hacking. That's what the state wants. Everybody, oh my God, on my channel, my YouTube channel, I have so many videos where I am on a crusade to warn people, do not attempt channeling. Do not. Because when you do that, you become vulnerable to AI and entities and controlled opposition. And oh my God, you have no idea.
So you don't recommend channeling at all?
No, not now, not these days. Don't do it unless you have from birth a direct contact with your spirit guides. That is okay. That's great. Shamans will guide you on that. This comes with protection, with training. Some people are born with direct natural connection with their spirit guides or star family. It's fantastic. Seek the connection within and connect with them. But that's not everyone. If you do not have a specific connection naturally with the spirit guide or galactic people, do not attempt contact, because there are predators everywhere looking for you naively to open contact. Please, ETs, contact me. I want downloads. So you say, oh, I want downloads from Jesus. You've never had a normal innate contact with Jesus all your life. Suddenly you want to talk to him. Please, Jesus, or an entity will come and present themselves to you like Jesus or Buddha or Sananda or whatever. And you will believe it, but it won't be, and they will tell you things to tell people. And I have been ejected from all the New Age groups on social medias because I was pointing these things. When you have somebody just posting, oh, I just had a download last night, it's like it's an essay. And so essays that's wrong, because that's special. You start reading and your mind is hooked into it, and there's a special structure. And then at the end, you will be completely brainwashed after like half an hour reading this stuff. No, the progressivities, if they send messages, is like 1-2 sentences, and that's it. And most of the time, it's raise your vibration and stop consenting to fear. And that's what they say. They're not going to write you an essay about the Arcturians telling you this or that and Jesus and stuff. They are going to be very direct. And so you have to be very careful what you believe.
Would you say that those dark entities are ramping it up right now because they know that humanity's ascending into a new Earth? So they're looking for any way possible, even more than ever before, to corrupt the human spirit. And that's probably one of the reasons why you shouldn't be channeling right now.
Yes, channeling is great, is a natural ability that we all have, that we can activate to contact beings from higher densities, but not now. Now it's war on all levels, and They're trying to distract humanity from ascending. They're trying to send fearful messages. Oh my God, all the message. So the message is easy it's so easy to see where it comes from. If it is empowering and asking you to move your bum and raise your vibration and move your bum and do actions, that may come from positive beings. But if it is telling you to just wait to be saved, the Galactic Federation of Light, everything of light, anyway, is going to land on Earth and save everyone. So just wait. Oh, but by the way, they won't take your pets. So be very sad and upset. So that's emotional manipulation. Okay. So everything that makes you emotional, fearful, sad, stressed, it doesn't come from good beings. It comes from manipulation, from, these grays aliens. They have amazing capabilities of mind controlling masses and broadcasting. When we say AI, it's artificial intelligence. It's like entities that are artificial. They have no bodies. They are not discorporated.
Yes.
And they are sent. They can travel throughout frequencies or radio waves. They can even be embedded in YouTube videos or music. It's very clever. Not talking about 5G.
That's a whole other thing. Yes. Well,
everything.
We're dealing with a lot, though. All those things they're talking about is because the Cabal, they're trying to keep humanity suppressed. So they're activating everything, the 5G, the abductions, the low frequency programming, the poisonous food. Like, you can think of everything. They're pulling out all the stops to keep humanity in the 3D matrix.
Yes, absolutely. And I stop trying to find outwards answers that you can find yourself within. What is needed now at the moment, it's not for you who has been arrested or who is a clone. That's not going to help you. Yeah. Okay. Even if you want to know, okay, humanity is curious. Yeah, you want to know, you'll know. You will know sooner or later what is happening now. But for the moment, you need to protect yourself. Stand for yourself, not consent to the abuse, and go within and discover who you are. Raise your frequency. That's the only thing you need to know now. Raise your frequency, because once you have reconnected with who you are inside this avatar and you are connected to a higher frequency, which is the real frequency of the soul that is inside, and then you cannot be controlled anymore. You are not these bodies. You are not these bodies, Right.
And that's something that people need to realize. We talk about that a lot on this podcast, is that you are not your body. But if you believe you are, that's how they can control you, because then you are corruptible. But if you raise your vibration, you become untouchable. But I can't help but think, as these grays are abducting people, in some cases, abducting animals and removing body parts. And there's so much information out there about what they're doing. It's pretty public in a way, but I can't help but notice that humans do the same thing to animals on Earth.
Yes.
And we're spiritual people. We don't want these things to happen, but unfortunately at this stage in my life, I'm not fully vegetarian, but I feel I'm definitely going back that way, because as I just really resonate with these feelings, I've been vegetarian several times in my life, but I can't help but feeling that's what we're doing to these creatures.
Well, that's a very important point, because this question raised my interest when I was put in contact with a being from a species named Keelitokurt. So, that was an amazing encounter, because these beings are not nice with humanity. The Keelitokurt are a race of tall grays. They have very pale skin. They can be called tall white. They are working in the Area 51. And for instance, and not for good purposes, they drive these black triangular ships. and they perform abductions a lot. So
frustrating.
So these people, they had on the space station of the Federation, where my protector Thorhan works. He said to me, "Well, we have a couple of them as prisoners. If you want, I can go and see them and connect with you telepathically. Then you can ask questions through me." And I went, "Wow, that's fantastic," because they're not nice beings, and I was very curious to learn about them.
Sure.
These beings, so I could interact with the female a little bit. Very impressive. So these beings, they perform abductions on Earth a lot. They work with the deep state, with the Cabal. They are involved in very dark stuff. They sell human slaves a lot to the Dark Fleet and the reptilians. They do a lot of trade with that. They do quite despicable things. And so these people abduct our children and sell them out to other species for despicable purposes. They're not the only one to do that, but they do that. So suddenly I learned from this being, and she wasn't lying because they have a way to know if they lie or not, frequency thing. She was saying that, explaining to me that on her world, they put their children as very important. They love their children so much, and they put all their effort in the education of their children regarding to their standards, of course. They love their children to bits too much, so much. They love their children so much. I was shocked. And then I said to Thorhan, ask her, why do they do that? This, if they love their own children that much, why they do that to these horrible things with children of other species?
Right.
And he asked her, and she said, because that's what we do. It's a trade. It's business. And I didn't really get it. And well, then we stopped because I was becoming to feeling upset and uncomfortable. But then I meditated a lot about that. And one day, maybe 2 weeks later, I was outside in countryside, and I walked past a field, and there were calves, young calves. And suddenly it hit me, and I went, oh my God, we do the same with animals here on Earth. We love our children so much. But we kill and slaughter children of other species on this planet. We love our children. We would die to protect them. But we torture and kill and eat children of other species. And then it hit me. I went, they do the same with us. They consider us as cattle. And this female just said to me, yes, but that's what we do. It's trade, it's business.
Yeah.
We do the same with animals here. That day I became vegetarian.
Yeah, I'm going back as of this moment, everyone. I'm swearing to the universe right now, I'm now vegetarian again. I'll never touch a meat product.
Oh my God. Suddenly it hit me. I went, wow, I'm becoming vegetarian now. I'm evolving. I'm just stopping doing what the Keelitokert do to human children. Well, if I want that to stop, I'm going to stop myself to do that to other species' children. Myself. I mean, that makes
pretty
sense.
Pretty profound. Would you say that the higher frequency alien races are all vegetarian? The Pleiadians and all?
Even vegetarian or vegan. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And things that don't have the vibration of death or killing. Right? Like you drink a cup of milk, it's probably not the end of the world because the cow doesn't really notice. Nobody died and
No, it's not the same as drinking a cup of blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned as well that, they told me if you eat a flesh, you know, your it makes so much sense, but you need to hear it sometimes.
Sure.
Everything you put in your body regulates, recalibrates the general average vibration of your body, of your being, your energy. So if you eat flesh, it will lower down your frequency to the frequency of flesh. So then,
that's huge.
Yes, that's huge. If you eat plants, it won't lower down your frequency lower than the level of the frequency of the plants. But if you eat blood, suddenly it will, you have a big drop to the level of blood frequency. So that's how now the reptilians, those who eat us, smell us. Will smell our frequency field, our energy field, our aura smells flesh, smells blood, because you have the frequency of blood, because we eat blood.
Oh my God.
So if you don't want to be eaten, don't eat flesh. Because then they can't smell you.
I wonder how many people we converted with this episode. We're going to convert so many people to vegetarian with this episode, but go ahead. I'm sorry, Elena, go ahead.
Frequency, my friends describe sometimes frequencies or of the frequency of an energy field as a smell. For instance, I smell this being is an Arcturian, but you know, I smell this being is nice, or I smell, how do you smell? And it's not really with the nose. It's, I don't know. They call it smelling a frequency.
Right. You're just taking it on. You're immersing yourself in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're able to
if you eat, that's it. So if you stop eating blood, you will be left alone by reptilians. You will be by those who eat you, because they will have no interest. So if you want to protect your children, let them be vegetarian. That will be a better safety, because, well, that's not very nice to hear, you know, what the reptilians, they do. So I won't go there.
So would it make sense then that the reason that the meat industry exists and the reason that these meat products are so pushed on Western culture is to another way to keep us into that lower enslaved state where we're in the blood frequency? If people are eating burgers and cow and they're in the blood frequency there, and think of the millions and millions of people and how much meat we pump out every single day on Earth. And that's keeping everyone in that vibration. I
mean, the poor cow or chicken or who is raised in horrible conditions, suffering, carries the frequency in its atoms,
right,
and its particles of suffering, very low frequency, and then it dies in extreme stress conditions. That's something that you ingest.
Yeah, you take that on, and then you wonder why you
take that on.
You get in arguments with people. You wonder why you're feeling stressed or anxiety at a certain point. But then you eat meat, low-grade meat, not even organic meat, but low-grade meat 3 times a day.
Yeah. And you become angry easily. You become, I mean, I know it's not funny to hear that, but if you want to evolve as a species, you need to stop eating flesh.
Right. I mean, I think that is really part of evolution. There probably is going to be a point where we don't necessarily need to ingest matter, right? Like we'd be able to take on the energy from the universe that we need to sustain ourselves.
But not yet. That's when we won't need a biological body. If you have a biological body, you need to eat and drink liquids. You need. Otherwise, you die. You need to feed this body. If you have a biological body made with matter, you need to put matter in for the cells to regenerate and to not to die.
That makes sense.
So you don't need to eat at the moment you don't have anything to feed. You need to feed, you know. So, but if you have an avatar, you need to feed it. It's like a car. Without fuel, you go nowhere. You can't drive a car with just sunlight. You need fuel.
But, you know, throughout history, we've heard about these ascended masters or these beings that somehow could exist without food and water for really long periods of time? Is that just somehow they transcended, those specific beings were able to kind of exist in a halfway state, or were they sneaking in some food under their shorts?
I can't believe they could live very long. And, I think they were sneaking food, because you can't do that to a body. You just die. I mean, you just die. Even someone in a coma, they need drips, they need nutriments. You can't. That's not possible. Well, you can see yogis not eating for days. Well, they don't look healthy. I'm sorry, and they just don't move, and they sat there, and they just like become a living mumia. And you can't live long. You can do it for a while, but you can't live like that.
Unless you're a light being.
If you don't have a body, you don't need to feed anything, so you're fine. But when you have a biological, physical, flesh avatar with organs and everything, you need to feed it.
So why is humanity's ascension so important to all of these races out there? The universe is vast. It's beyond human comprehension. The amount of Earth-like planets that are out there, we can't even fathom. So why, way over here, Earth, this little planet, this race of Terrans, why is our ascension so important?
Ascension is a normal, is part of the evolution of a race. It's a species. It's normal. It comes. It's, the frequency ascend as you incarnate and the consciousness opens and develops. That's a normal process. The thing is, here on Earth, it needs to be quite brutal because we've been locked down into lower frequencies so long. And it's like, a tree that tries to grow, but you just put something on it and it's going to try to grow, but it's, so stifled. Now the lead is being put out by these extraterrestrial beings that are helping us. But now it's to us to just unfold our leaves and grow, and that is important that we do it. Because as someone told me, his name was Valthor, he's told me we cannot free a slave who holds on to his chains. That is very crucial for them. Otherwise, they can't help us. The only way that we're left alone by the Greys and the reptilians is to ascend, is to raise our frequency. Because once we do that, they can't take us anymore. They can't manipulate us anymore. They will have no interest to make us a race of slaves because they won't be able to do that anymore. Free yourself first. And then that's the best way to help those good entities who are fighting for us, is to do our part of the job, which is to raise our frequency, reconnect with ourselves, and the ascensions will come. It's a process,
But why are we so important to them with all the life out there? Why are we so important? What makes the humans so special that all these different races would invest so much different energy and time and wars and battling throughout millennia? Is it just their service to the divine? That's like their job. They just got to go help all these different races ascend? Or is there even something more to the humans?
So there are three reasons. First, the Galactic Federation, they look after balance in the galaxy. So when there's a problem, they're going to go and try to sort it out. Their principles are justice and balance. So they are going to look after that. So, of course, one of the reasons why they're here. Second reason, why is that happening here on Earth? Is because humans of Earth have been genetically engineered, manipulated. The Homo sapiens was manipulated with 21 other alien genetics. So we are super hybrids. We are made with 22 different genomes, so Earth Homo sapiens plus 21. Wow. So that makes of us super interesting for anyone who wants to come and do hybridization experiments. That's why they're here. The baddies, the Greys, the Orions, and the Reptilians. The Reptilians, no, they don't. They're just here for food and profit. But the Greys are more interested in the human soul and the soul matrix of humans, because starseeds, for instance, are something different. They come from other soul matrix, but the human bodies and all that comes with it, that's so interesting. And the real humans, the real humans, the ones who are really from the Earth matrix, they are so interesting, and they are going to be so powerful in the future. So that's why all this interest here. But then why the war? Because, the Galactic Federation could have done how they've done for other star systems who are invaded by the Orion's Greys. They would have fought for a while, and seeing that sometimes they weren't getting anywhere, they would have said, okay, we're not going to lose lives and ships, and we're going to, give up. But on Earth, they will be here until the job is done. However many of them die, they don't care. Why that? Because of the Andromedan Council. The Andromedan Council in the constellation of Andromeda, not the galaxy. In the future, they saw that in the future, the galaxy, our galaxy, was ransacked by a horrible tyranny. It will not be anymore. We know why. The Andromedans the Zene have traced it back, the making of this tyranny, this empire, back to Earth, its moon and Mars. And this tyranny was seeded and started in the 1940s by the Greys. It's an alliance of the Orion group of Greys, the Reptilians, and the Dark Fleet, the breakaway Antarctica German civilization. These three together form the Dark Alliance. And it has started already. It's existing, but they are taking a serious hit at the moment in this star system. So that's why they're here, because they want to suffocate it in the egg, the birth of this Dark Alliance. So this threatening timelines is dead already, because the moon has been liberated. Mars is in the process of being liberated, and so is Earth. So this timeline of galactic tyranny already doesn't exist anymore. The Dark Fleet in this star system is really being cut off from the headquarters in Aldebaran. So it's looking good. The war is not over. Oh my God, people who say, the light has won, just eat popcorn. No, keep on fighting. That's now you need to fight.
Yes, clearly they're ramping up. The other side is ramping up their forces.
Yeah. So that's why everything is happening now here.
And do you think that humans have a leadership role after all of this is done? And is that also like the final component of why they're so interested in us? Is that once we pass the dark agendas, once we ascend and evolve, that we're going to be out there maybe as huge leaders, have a huge role in the universe? What do you think about that? No, that's New Age fantasy. Oh, okay.
We will be sovereign and leaders of ourselves.
Right.
As a race freshly liberated and who needs to prove itself. And to the galactic community as a progressive race, a civilization.
Okay.
And so we will have to rebuild ourselves and just step into our righteous future and start really having alliance with these galactic institutions. But we will still have a long road to become at the level of, for instance, the Zene of the Andromeda Council. Or, we will just start now a new step in our evolution, as free beings. And we will lead no one but ourselves.
Ah, interesting, because I have heard that theory. It sounds like you've heard that as well.
Yes, that's main.
it's fantasy. Well, we want to feel special, humans want to feel special.
We are specials, but being who we are is already extraordinary.
True.
Why wanting to be the master of the universe? Be who you are. It's already a good challenge.
Right. Well, Elena, there's so many different things we could talk about. We could talk for hours. I barely cracked into my notes here. You're an incredible human being, but we'll have you back. We'll have you back. We'll have you back at another time because there's so many questions. But before you go, I do want to tell people. First, I want to tell people about your book, which I read in one day. And I read it. I just sat down. It took me about 8 hours, but I read the whole thing and it was incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And it's called A Gift from the Stars, Extraterrestrial Contacts and Guide of Alien Races. So you can get that on Amazon. I think that came out in November or December of last year. And if you want to learn more about Elena, you can go to Elena, that's Elena, Danaan, DANAAN.org, and you can find her there. She does workshops. There's so many different things that she has going on. She has a YouTube channel that you can check out. Please go to YouTube, find her channel, check it out. She has incredible videos there that you can learn from. And before we go, Elena, is there anything you want to leave people with? We've touched on what's going on. We've opened people's minds to the fact that there's the Galactic Federation. There's hundreds of thousands of alien races out there. Is there somewhere we can point people to get more information about this? Your book, of course, your website. Where else should people be researching?
Not in the mainstream medias. Look at all the whistleblowers people. There are many whistleblowers. They all have channels. I would rather go to whistleblowers, people who have done the 20 and back programs, people who have worked in the U.S. Navy, U.S. Air Force, people who have had real jobs in the matter. Look also channels who interview these people. There's a few of them. I recommend Michael Sala. Dr. Michael Sala, Exopolitics. Yes. He's very good. We are teaming up because he can confirm a lot of things that I'm telling him. So it's a good team, but there are so many out there. Now where not to look, it's all New Age people. There are good people out there, but everybody's genuine. That the thing is, in the New Age community, everyone has a good heart. But the problem is that many are hijacked. So be very careful. Just seek only with people who have had physical experience working with extraterrestrials, contactees. People like Travis Walton, people who are really real contactees. And Alex Collier. Alex Collier is fantastic. Alex Collier. Fantastic. He has a website, he does webinars. I would seek the truth among these people. Yes, that's what I would do.
Well, I do want to read one cool message that was given to you by the person that's been taking care of you and watching over you your whole life. I thought this was so cool. After all the fights and wars, when the silence settles above the clouds and the sunlight faints into the dark of space, what remains is always love. I think that's so profound.
Yes.
Elena, please hold on the line while we listen to the outro music. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed what we just heard. My mind is just crackling right now. We'll see you next week. Midnight on Earth.